My name's Chef Reactions. Bienvenue à Montreal.
It's a chef reaction. Monotone fraction. 10 out of 10. I'd eat the whole damn thing. It's a chef reaction.
When you're coming to Montreal, your first stop should be the orange julep. And if you're having a tough time finding it, it's the giant fucking orange in the middle of the city. We got the orange julep, which is their trademark drink. A couple glizzies, very tasty. I'd give the julep a 7 out of 10 and the hot dogs an 8 out of 10. Great buns. When I'm in Montreal, I have a list of spots that I always go to. This time, I threw that list out the fucking window and just went to places I'd never been before, like Garde Manger. Started off with these croquettes. They were okay, a little dense for my liking. I'd give them a 7 out of 10. This octopus dish, one of the best I've ever had in my life, if I'm being real. Sous vide to perfection, grilled off, served with a nice delicate sauce and crispy potatoes. That was a 10 out of 10. This tomato salad was whatever. I'd give it a 6.5. I don't even remember eating it, so that should tell you that. This pasta dish, maybe the most expensive pasta dish I've ever had. Keeping in mind it's Canadian dollars, so it's like 10 bucks American, but whatever. It was a 10 out of 10. These cream puffs, hard to fuck up. They were delicious. 10 out of 10. Also, while you're there, don't forget to tip your cooks. 18 bucks is fuck all, and they'll appreciate it. Went to Olive and Gourmando the next morning for breakfast, and I'm a light breakfast kind of guy. For me, usually it's coffee and cigarettes, but when I throw something in the mix, usually it's pastry related. This ricotta with the brioche was fucking fantastic. The orange zest and the honey really put it over the top for me. That was a 10 out of 10. The almondine, little doughy, not the best. I would give it a 5.5.
This is Rue St. Paul in Old Port of Montreal. And it's like the main strip here. Lots of shops, restaurants, cafes, tourist trap. It is closed off to vehicles, so it's pedestrian traffic only, so it's very European. I'm in Old Montreal at Place Jacques-Cartier, which is like the main piazza, I guess you could call it. It was the original entrance to the port of Old Montreal. Old Montreal was founded in 1642 by the French, obviously. It's not fucking Spanish speaking here. It wasn't Magellan, or was he Italian? Don't care. This is a place where you can come to get lunch, get some freshly squeezed juice, get a caricature of yourself with like a big fucking head. Very touristy here. Don't come here for poutine. There's a ton of poutine places, but everything's way more expensive here than it would be elsewhere in Montreal. There are some hidden gems here though, so do your research or just watch the rest of this video. In the spring and summertime here, there's always live music. There's a dude playing, I think, a fucking cello or something. Always concerts, it's always bumping here. It's a good time.
If you're not a lazy piece of shit like me, try the Bixie bikes. They're fucking everywhere.
Here at the Old Port, there's a nice walking path by the water. So you can be like me, a 40-year-old mall walker, basically. Just strutting away the rest of my life. You can easily kill a couple hours down here for free. This place looks like somewhere the crew from The Walking Dead would hold up for a while. Judith! Coral! Montreal winters suck so fucking hard that they actually had to build an underground city to connect all of the office buildings, shopping areas, and all that shit downtown because it gets like minus 30 Celsius, which don't ask me to do math right now, I don't know. Here's a tip for out-of-towners coming in. If you're driving or if you have a car, park it, leave it. You don't need it. You can get around by walking, you can get around by using the metro system. There's 2 seasons in Montreal, winter and construction. And it fucking sucks to drive here.
If you want to do some shopping, you can hop on the Metro for a quick ride downtown. You can head on to the Eaton Center where they've got the Time Out Market, which is basically a fancy food court. They've got locations in New York, Lisbon, Boston, Montreal, obviously, Chicago, and Dubai. We ended up getting a couple of sandwiches for lunch because I was in the mood for a little meat on bread. Got the porchetta as well as the cutlet sandwich. Both the sandwiches were okay. They were both 7 out of 10s, both lacking a little bit of seasoning. The bread was super fresh, but again, just not quite there. Chips were okay, 5 out of 10. For dinner, we went to Montreal Plaza, which was recently named number 21 on Canada's top 100 restaurants list. It's also been featured on Somebody Feed Phil on Netflix. We got the tasting menu, which is constantly changing with the seasons. Started off with this potato foam, which was fucking delicious. You can tell by the look on my face. It just right away hit me with that feeling of nostalgia, tasting like the essence of mashed potatoes. Next up, we had a sea urchin cream with togarashi, asparagus, and daikon, which was served with this spinach and scallop salad. Both of them were very tasty, but rather than giving you a breakdown and rating of each dish, I'm just going to rate the whole experience because chances are these dishes aren't going to be available. The next dish, I forget all the components, but it had strawberries and asparagus, which was a very interesting combination for me. It was very tasty. This was a turbo tempura salad with Parmesan and fresh greens. Very tasty as well. I need better adjectives, but what are you going to do? This is the Arctic char cooked a la plancha with a piece of crispy bread on top. This is their signature dish. You can actually see Phil Rosenthal eat it on Somebody Feed Phil. It was delicious. This duck, however, wasn't it. The fiddlehead's really good. That little fucking crostini or whatever it was also tasty, but it might have been the toughest duck I've ever had in my life. This fig dessert was okay. Wasn't crazy about it. Plated really nicely. This strawberry butthole looking thing was actually delicious. It reminded me of those old strawberry things that you would get from like the fucking ice cream man that came around. You know what I mean? Nobody saw that. Overall, I'd give the whole experience an 8 out of 10. It was a little pricey. I think the prices were jacked up for F1 weekend though. The next day we went to one of my favorite places in all of Montreal, which is St. Viateur Bagel. I always stop here to get a bagel. While truth be told, I stop at the original location. This is my first time coming to the one in the Plateau. They make about 5,000 bagels in this location alone every day by hand, and they are my favorite bagels in the entire world. I really can't recommend them enough. You can actually buy them. They ship nationwide on Goldbelly. This is the Joe Bagel, which is a toasted sesame bagel with ricotta, balsamic, and figs. Fucking dynamite, 10 out of 10. Also got a cinnamon raisin bagel just with plain cream cheese because I appreciate the classics. Also a 10 out of 10.
I love Montreal in general, but one of my favorite areas, which is called the Plateau, it's like the artsy, hipsterish district, I guess you could call it, for lack of a better term. We just finished breakfast at St. Viateur Bagel, my favorite bagels in the world. Sorry, New York. These are tops for me, 10 out of 10. Would recommend, always. We're gonna go to the market today and explore a little bit. This area is all closed off to vehicles during the summer months, so it's pedestrian traffic only. Is this a weed store or a poke bowl restaurant? Either way, I'm in. Like I said earlier, driving around Montreal is fucking awful. Take the Metro. It's $11 Canadian for a day pass, and it's one of the best subway systems in the world. I'm here at the Marché Jean-Talon here in Montreal. Again, apologies for my French accent. Or it's also known as the Jean-Talon Market to uneducated, ignorant fuck. An outdoor market, lots of good food stalls. One of my favorite places in Montreal. Let's check it out.
Market's a great place to come for some beautiful fresh produce, some artisanal meats and cheeses, some flowers, or to get sworn at in Spanish.
We're at the Marché Jean-Talon, like I said earlier, and I got buffet moi, which I don't know what that means. I'm gonna have to Google it. And we got corn dogs. They're hand dipped, churn baby churn, like Ashley Banks from the Fresh Prince. While we wait, we've got a lemonade that is sweetened with maple syrup because we're in Quebec and fucking everything has maple syrup in it. Goo. It's not overly sweet. It's very tart. You don't get a lot of the maple syrup flavor. Give it a 6 out of 10. I'm a sucker for corn dogs because, as I've established multiple times in these videos, I'm a piece of shit. I'll even buy the frozen ones, the shitty frozen ones from like Costco, and I'll throw them in the air fryer. $11 for 2 of these, which not terrible. They are hand dipped. I don't know what kind of glizzy they got inside. One is Montreal style, which has a spicy mustard and some green onion on there, and the other one is Quebec style, which has a maple syrup Dijon mustard. And then there's a little slaw and a pickle. The corn batter is very fresh. It's got a nice sweetness to it. The spicy maple syrup mustard, a tongue twister, is also really nice. It's got a good kick to it. It's just like a standard hot dog. It might be slightly above average quality. Overall, I'd give this one a 7.5 out of 10. I'm gonna try the Montreal style one, which has a spicy mayo and green onions or scallions. I gotta get down a little bit on the shaft before I get to the mayo. We'll be back in a second. Spicy mayo, it is what it is. It's got a good bite to it, good heat. The scallions are a nice touch, the green onions. You know, I'm gonna bump the last one up to an 8. I'm gonna give this one an 8 as well. They're both an 8 out of 10. I would recommend them if you're here, I like them.
For our last dinner, we went to a place called Nora Gray, which was recently named number 53 on Canada's top 100 list. I was really excited about this meal because before going there, the chef reached out and told me he was gonna, quote, fuck my shit up, which he did. Focaccia is a great way to start any Italian meal. That was a 10 out of 10. Followed that up with some BC spot prawns as well as the lobster salad. Very fresh, very tasty, 10 out of 10. Actually, you know what? This whole fucking meal was a 10 out of 10, so let's forget about the ratings going forward. Just assume that's a 10 out of 10. The two pasta dishes, this bucciate with burrata was delicious. Ricotta gnocchi, fan-fucking-tastic. Can't beat it. I love a good mushroom pasta. Both of them, guess what? 10 out of 10. If you've watched my videos, you've noticed that I do this thing where when I bite into something, if I like it, I nod like a fucking idiot. So that's the chef reaction seal of approval. This grilled pork chop was incredibly balanced, had a really nice acidity to it. Say that 5 times fast. The kale salad was also good, even though I'm not a rabbit. We were then served a trio of desserts, including this cake, which was my personal favorite, this cheesecake, which was with cherries and fennel, and this pistachio semifreddo. I did really enjoy the pistachio semifreddo. Not crazy about the cheesecake, only because I don't like fennel or licorice flavored stuff, but that cake was just fucking dynamite. Look at that look on my face. Shout out to the team at Nora Gray for their hospitality. I always love a chance to go back into the kitchen. Montreal is one of my favorite food cities in all of North America, and I think it's criminally underrated. Next time you get an opportunity, actually, you know what? Go out of your way. Come to Montreal. You won't regret it.